look, let's move on to the next discussion point here, which is the Wales team list news. Now, I don't believe there's anything official here, but there has been an article and also a few things said about a couple of their players. Would you like to divulge, mate?
Alrighty, so Wales, they are going to be playing the All Blacks in October, the 31st of October, to be exact. But that means that because of the fact that it's not in the November international window, that all of the premiership sides, the URC sides, and everyone along those lines, they can actually choose to say, no, your international players aren't joining back up with the camp yet, and we are going to hang on to them for a little bit longer. So that means that there's a total of, I believe they have said, at least 21 key players could be missing from the Welsh side for the match up against the All Blacks. And looking through some of these names as well, like you're looking at Dan Biggar, Lewis Rees-Zammit, also Faletau, Taulupe Faletau, that is. Also looking through more of them, Owen Williams, Thomas Young had a phenomenal game for the Wasps on the weekend as well, getting the assist to Dan Robson, George North, Justin Tipuric as well, Lee Halfpenny, Liam Williams, and Josh Navidi as well as another name that's just off the top of this list. Do you think
that all the players are going to be said no to, or do you think that this is obviously just an option speaking point at this point where they're saying like, oh yeah, we may not give you, like obviously, like I said, the team list hasn't come out yet. So do you think this is just everyone freaking out saying like, yeah, look, it is technically a legal move of the rugby teams to say no, or do you think it's genuinely going to happen with all the players?
I think at this stage, it's more of just the speculation side of it. So I hope that a lot of those players are available because Wales at the moment, I believe they are sitting 9th at the moment of the world rankings. And I feel like they will not want to have a lot of their key players missing for that game up against the All Blacks because the week after they have got the game, I want to say it's up against the Wallabies, but I might have to just double check that. So you don't really want to have a whole heap of players coming from overseas straight into a starting match up against the side in the top 3 of the Rugby World rankings. The informed Aussies at the moment, yes, you could say. But it does also mean that there could be a possibility of Michael Collins missing out. And the reason I say that name is he plays for the Highlanders in Super Rugby, or he did up until the point of heading north for the URC. And because of that, it could mean that he could miss out. And he has been working very hard to make his way into that Welsh side. But because of this kind of situation, it could mean that he could miss out once again. But hopefully they do get some of those players that I mentioned on that list, because if the likes of missing out on a Liam Williams, Justin Tipuric, and those kind of guys as well, Lee Halfpenny, I believe, is out due to injury because of the fact that not just those players on the list are locked into contract, that is also through injuries as well. We have seen quite a few of them recently, including, I believe it's Owen Lane, I want to say that it is, who is out on the wing, who had a very good game up against Ireland, I want to say it was, in those Autumn International or the mid-year internationals, I guess you could say, July. And
are you talking about the Autumn Nations Cup last year?
No, the games, the likes of up against Argentina and whatnot.
Oh, okay,
those kind of timing-wise. In fact, I think it was actually the game up against Argentina that I was talking about there, that first match.
I don't believe that Wales played Ireland this year besides the Six Nations.
No, so it was that game up against Argentina when it was that 20-all draw. And also, they have set a list of players who will be available, though. The likes of Alan Wynne-Jones, Adam Baird, Ken Owens, Wynne-Jones as well. So they are still going to have a foundation for a very good side. It is just the factor of whether or not they're going to have all of those key players. I'd love to see Rees-Zammit out on the wing, tearing it up on that side. And the thing is, he could be marking up with anyone from a Rieko Ioane to a Will Jordan or someone like that, depending on where they decide to play him as well. It could be very exciting to see that pace factor up against the All Blacks, but we'll have to wait and see, of course.
I just want to see Wales at their full form, because everyone keeps telling me that Wales are going to win this and Wales are going to win that and Wales are going to do this and Wales are going to do that, but I haven't seen nothing yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, they win one Six Nations and everyone believes that they're the world champions. Like, I've seen, at least with the Six Nations was great, but the Autumn Nations Cup last year did happen, right? You can't just forget that. The Autumn Nations Cup, where they played terribly, did happen. Last year's Six Nations also did happen, right? So, as much as, was it last year? Did Six Nations even go ahead last year?
Yeah, that was. Oh wait, are we talking?
We're talking 2020
year before. I think it did. I think England may have been up there for that one. One moment.
I'm not sure. I think it was a bit of a weird one though, where like there was some games played and some games weren't played, and because there were obviously the pandemic hit right at that moment. So I'm not too sure. But anyway, I don't think the Wales. If they did, if I remember correctly, I don't think Wales did do that successfully there. But anyway, that could be, actually, you know what, while I'm speaking here, I am going to quickly go and check out the Six Nations 2020.
So England finished first in terms of the points, then France in second, Ireland, Scotland, then Wales on the 8 points, and then Italy, unfortunately not winning any of their games there.
So Wales, obviously, yeah, they came basically. Yeah, they did come second last. So yeah, look, obviously they didn't have a great 2020, and they have had a very successful year with this year, winning Six Nations. So I just want to see them, because obviously the Argentinian games, they were very, very depleted due to the British and Irish Lions. And now, because this All Blacks, they're going to be, due to the fact that it's in October, they're going to be depleted yet again. And then hopefully they aren't depleted for the Wallabies and whatnot game, because obviously we are in their group, Australia's in their group. And I look forward to seeing this Welsh team that everyone's bigging up to actually do what they're meant to do. I think that at this point, they're the most hyped nation in the world. Would you disagree with that? Would you say that Wales right now, besides maybe Australia because of their kind of recent form, but overall speaking, would you say that people speak more about Wales being this undefeatable team compared to everyone else?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's 100% correct, purely because of the fact that, unfortunately for Wales, they haven't been able to have enough games kind of leading into the later stages. I feel like after these internationals that we get to see, when they play Fiji, Springboks, Wallabies, All Blacks, and all of those strong sides, then after that, I think we will see whether or not people are saying maybe, because if they win a couple of those games, I would say that they could be going in as the favourites for next year's Six Nations, purely because of the fact that they won the last one. And then if you're able to get a couple of big wins over those Southern Hemisphere giants, surely in only 120 days, it's about 4 months till we get to see the next Six Nations as well in February. So, maybe they'll be able to carry on that form leading into that one as well.
Yeah, well, look, obviously, I hope that, I want to see this team in its peak form. That's all I want to see. I'm not insulting them. I'm saying that I don't believe in it. So I guess that is a little bit of an insult, but I'm not insulting them based on anything besides the fact that I haven't seen anything to prove otherwise except for one Six Nations tournament. So I'm not a hype train kind of guy. I'm not going to jump on a hype train just because you tell me to. Not you. I'm just talking about in general, because a lot of people say that this is the Wales team. Like, I look and I watch Australia and I can see the improvement with that team. If I think that Australia's not playing well and getting positive, acknowledgements, I guess, I'll be happy with it. But in the same sense, I'll also say, well, there's still this aspect that we've got to figure out. There is a lot of aspects with Australian rugby that we've got to figure out, but I'm just waiting to see Wales actually do it first, besides one little tournament, because Six Nations next year, they could absolutely tank. This year, at the end of this year, they could absolutely tank because they haven't had a great deal of rugby together. So that's the point. People forget this, but everyone loves a hype train. That's my thoughts. But like I said, I'm excited to see a full-strength Wales team against the Wallabies, against the Fiji, against South Africa. No, they don't play South Africa.
Don't they? I believe they do.
They play because they already... Oh, no, they didn't play South Africa. Sorry. I thought they already played for some reason.
The old British and Irish Lions.
The old British and Irish Lions, mate. Well, they do both wear red, so that's where I got them.